one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda, I'll need a motion.
I'll second.
Carmel and, okay. Any discussion or questions there? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. 4.0 public comment, looks like we have none tonight. 5.0 approval of the consent agenda, need a motion.
So, I'll make the motion.
All right.
I'll second that.
All right, seconded by John, Mark. Okay, any discussion or questions on that? Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, communications report. Denise Smith.
Good evening, everyone. It was very super busy. Summer challenging with the weather, especially when it came to baseball and summer rec, but we managed through it. Especially when that storm went through Raymond right during championship, it was pretty challenging. But we offered night baseball again, 3rd through 8th grade. We had 7 teams playing with 15 coaches and 87 players. We still struggle with the shortage of fields and everyone having to share what we have. And the JV field gave us a little bit of a challenge with the weeds and so forth, but we navigated through that. I want to recognize Tyler Reed. He did a lot of volunteer hours to get that field ready. And then also 3 of my staff, Addison Peterson, Tobin Dolly, and especially Bryson Kempley. They did a lot to keep the fields maintained and ready for games with them. But summer rec went well. Thank you to Debbie and Brian Brandt for doing the night T-ball again. That was pretty successful. And then you can kind of see the numbers behind all the camps and everything else as far as the participation. But when I add that all up, it's almost 900 experiences that kids had over the summer. So I think that shows how busy it was. So, and in your packet was the fall 24 booklet that covers the months of September, October, and November. We work really hard to try to create opportunities from birth to older adults, so that's good. We're in the middle of our youth football program. We have a youth football night on September 20th. We have 56ers. We're obviously 5th and 6th grade. We have 37 kids. Our coaches are Adam Hess, Jake Gora, Matt Kleinhusen, Paul Reed, Rob Baker, Mike McNeil. 3rd and 4th grade flag football, we play in Wilmer. We have 4 teams because we have 36 kids. Our coaches are Tyler Anderson, Steve Condon, Matt Coonan, and Travis Roskins. And then we will also be offering 1st and 2nd grade flag football after school on Wednesdays. Our ECFE and preschool screening, our MCUB starts on October 8th. One nice thing about that, we provide meals for families, and we always provide sibling care. So that is really good because then we provide parent education with them. In addition to that, we do some standalone classes for our families, and that's well received also. Preschool screening is on October 1st, thanks to Bethany Reformed Church because they let us use the church for them. And the popular pumpkin patch party is October 26th. Adult basic education is going to start tomorrow night. It's going to be from 5 to 8. Jennifer Van Epps had her baby a couple weeks ago now, but Sonia Stark and Ann Hubder are going to fill in during her maternity leave. One thing that we're offering this year to try to increase enrollment for our adults is to offer daycare, and we hired Greta Jarvis for that. We are getting reimbursed by Mirvad for the cost of Greta's time and then any expenses connected with supplies and things like that. Our youth scholarship fund has a balance of a little over $3,400. Community garden, we had 10 gardeners this year, and with the rain, it's been a little challenging with the weeds. And we still have struggles with stolen items, and it's made some cabbages stolen and so forth. So I'm working with Jesse to try to more security camera options and then more signage to keep trespassers out. So that is unfortunate. In your packet too was the Looney Lutherans. We have them coming on Saturday, October 5th. If you're familiar with like the church basement ladies, it's similar to that. So that'll be a fun evening. But all money goes to the MACPAC program. So it's really exciting that we can support them. I was approached by Luann Kruger from Emmanuel Lutheran Church about bringing them here, and and we're excited. And then we got enough business sponsors to cover the cost of bringing them here. So all the ticket sales will go directly to the Medicare program. So we're hoping for some good money for them. As far as facility use, the Walmart Area Orchestra was here on July 11th. The Girl Scouts will be having their recruitment meeting here on September 24th. And Briggs Motley will have their craft sale on November 2nd. Any questions?
Sounds good, Denise, thank you. Jim is not here, he had just a couple of items on his report. He's approving a couple of extra coaches there that we approved, he's got them listed, and then he's explained that bill for the Minnesota State High School with the vote restriction in there. They are charging us less than last year. I guess they're making some adjustments there. Okay, next on our communications report is Todd Wicker.
All right, thank you. I'll just highlight a few things on the report that was included in your packet. We had a very successful open house night on August 28th. Most of our classrooms had 100% attendance. A few that just missed one, so that was great to see. Great first week. I think our building looked great on the inside. Floors were stripped, waxed, walls painted, classrooms cleaned. So you would never be able to tell we had the water problems from last Christmas in January. Those events took place. So Kurt and Matt did a wonderful job with that. Classrooms looked great. You had a chance to walk through those. Decorated, signage, a lot of school colors, McCray Pride, and just a great place for our kids to kind of start the school year off. And I've had a chance to be in each classroom. What a great start. They've done a wonderful job of setting those routines, clear expectations, and then just building those relationships that are really going to be instrumental in getting the curriculum done this year and learning. So that's the first block, is just making those connections with their students. Schedules have been set. Our enrollment, I'm sure we've mentioned later, but I think we're up 5, so steady down there on the pre-K 5 wing. Full speed ahead with the READ Act. So we've been doing some individual training right now. We've got 30 staff members that are involved in that, 4 in the middle school, I think, 26 in the elementary, and then 3 more that are going to be in year 2, so 33 that are going through that process. And September 16th is our first kind of PD day where they're going to work on that through Lexia. That supervises that 6 hours of training for us on that day. Fast bridge testing, so change in how we're going to assess. So not as frequent. We'll do that 3 times each year. And that first window opens up in September. So that will be kind of our benchmark. Between September 17th and the 27th, we'll have our students go through that. There'll be an academic component as well as a social and emotional learning component that goes with it. So we'll do that 3 times. And then week 2, why not, right? Homecoming. So we're super excited for that. I won't steal too much of Judd's thunder here, but our staff has done a great job working with the high school and with Judd to make sure that we've got some things that are connected. They really look forward to those times so we can do things with the high school. So whether that's Pep Fest or some of those class sharing days when we kind of buddy up or partner up with middle school and high school. So we're looking forward to that. Do you have any questions for me?
I guess not, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jen, you're next.
All right, thank you very much. I will savor my 1 month of being able to report before elementary, and now I slide back into my comfort zone of having all of my things talked about. So, and I say that in jest, everybody out there watching. Workshops, back to school workshops were tremendous, and it was really wonderful to be able to kind of cap things off with Kevin Honeycutt, speaker that Superintendent Ossett had heard before, came in very motivational and just a real good feel in order to kick things off and get going at it. Open house was really good. Again, being able to take advantage of the commons area and then not just focus on everybody being in the gym. It was so crowded in there when we did that in the past. So nice open area. It seemed like everybody came through and went, and it doesn't really feel quite as busy as what it actually is because you just have all that space. So open house was good. And then again, as Mr. Bertram said, some attendance type stuff. I think we're up 6 at the middle high level. I had 8 new student meetings just the first week of school, and I got another one coming up right away tomorrow morning. So we've got some new students coming in, some old students returning to us after an interview being out, but it's always good to see them. And more bodies in the building is great for us. Again, homecoming week, we've got coordination tomorrow afternoon, and I'm trying to learn things as I go through life and just try to remember, and so I want to share something I learned with you. It's never a good idea to leave the homecoming coronation cape at the cleaner when they close on Monday at 6. So my wife will be doing me a gigantic favor and picking it up and dropping it off tomorrow morning. So thank you, Heather Wheatley. So we've got weeks full of activities going on. We're adding a parade. I'll do a little bit of air quotes on that. We're gonna do it Olympic style, and as long as track painting cooperates with us, we're gonna be doing a walking parade around the track and have the elementary in the stand so we can honor the groups and be able to just have maybe a new tradition into the events for us. As Mr. Richmond said, we got workshops coming up, and ninth grade is going to be taking a field trip next Wednesday to the Kathleen Jordan Project, and that will be so Mr. Hograf is going to be taking the ninth graders to that. And then NHS is hitting the ground running. Already got the committee together to start thinking about going over possible candidates, and then they have their first field trip. Getting after it. Any questions?
Yeah, what is that Kathleen Jordan project?
It's something history based.
Oh, it's
Yeah, it's a historical piece, which I did kind of right up your alley. I'm sorry, I don't have that information, so I'm not even going to pretend like I know. We talked about it last spring, and I just started had it lined up, and so when Mr. Hograf came in and was hired, I gave him the envelope and said, "Here you go, this is yours." So
Right.
I'll be happy to email you if you'd like.
Well, you know, does it have to do with that woman who's chronicling her grandmother? Her life history, or is it not?
It might be.
Yeah. Is that what that is? Okay, because that sounded
Because there's
familiar.
multiple locations the students are gonna walk to get the chronology and stuff.
Okay, all right. That's all I had. Anybody else?
Just wondering if you've got any feedback about an afternoon coronation at all, or?
Feedback, no. So we started it with Snow Week
Okay.
last year, and it went well. I can tell you right out of the gate that my philosophy behind it, and I wanted to feel it out. Now I'm in my 4th year. I figured, okay, now's the time to do it. Homecoming is by the students for the students, and I wanted to have it in the afternoon, so at least it wasn't something that was disrupting the morning for any of the family members that would choose to take some time off. So I'd like to have the whole student body there, and when I look at what the evening attendance looked like, it was mainly just either the participants and parents, or a lot of times it was just parents that would be at the event. So having 400 plus students in the seats is a good way to honor our candidates.
Probably still welcome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know there's area schools that do it during the
Yeah.
Wyoming's free groups, yeah.
We'll have the live stream movie up in the morning.
Okay, anything else for Jay? All right, thank you, Jay. All right, Josh.
Good evening. Welcome to September. September is School Board Recognition Month. I think they changed that. I think it used to be a different month. So they had us hopping. But thank you very much for all of your service that you give to our school and to our kids and our community. So thank you each of you. The athletic project, we just within the last 10 days or so, we signed a certificate of completion for the field turf, so we can use that space. There still are things that still need to be done, like the striping of the track and the finishing of some dirt work out there, but we are allowed to begin to use the field, and it's been used by more people than I even would care to admit. I know there's been many elementary classes that have gone out. There's been many FIAD classes that have already gone out to use the space. And right now we're working on putting together an expectation use of the facility so that when community ed uses it, they know the proper use of it. Or if we go out there for elementary FIAD, they know what to leave in the school and what not to bring out there. Or things as simple as what shoes, should you be wearing out there or on the surface, or what should you not have, out there, whether it's candy or sunflower seeds or gum or whatever that might be. The football team had their very first practice on Labor Day on September the 2nd under the lights. So once it got dark, the lights were turned on, and the kids were running faster and playing harder than I've ever seen them play evening, or especially during practice. So there certainly was a wow factor to them being able to be out there and in their space. The football coaches did a really good job of allowing them to kind of explore their space too. Go up into the visitors bleachers, go to the home bleachers, go into the press box, take a peek at what that looks like. Walk to all end zones and wherever, and just realizes that, hey, this is yours, and this is where you get to play your games and practice and things like that. Looking at the upcoming uses, this is homecoming week, as Judd already alluded to, and then we will be having a grand opening on September the 20th, which is the next week. So we will be working with the paper and other means to be able to invite not only you folks to be there, but also community members too, and what that evening will look like. Jumping ahead to enrollment, we have 789 total kids pre-K through 12 right now. And looking across, I thought I'd share just a couple of numbers so that you as a school board knew where we were at. Our smallest grade is first grade, and we have 42 kids in first grade. And our largest is seventh grade, and we have 68. So you can see kind of the, between the different classes, the difference in total numbers. MIST is who we have our insurance through. It's Minnesota Insurance Scholastic Trust. And what they're able to do is they come out and visit the schools that they work with, and they will go into classrooms, they will go into storage spaces, they'll go into the kitchen, they'll go into the boiler room, they'll go into many different places, and they will walk around with Kim, myself, and then also Noel, and they'll give us suggestions on what is appropriate, what needs to be kind of cleaned up so that you meet the needs that their company has, so that we can get a good insurance rate. Last year, an example that MIST shared with us, when we walked through the preschool and kindergarten classrooms, we noticed that the outlets did not have covers on them. And so that was brought to our attention that to be up to code in those classrooms, you need to have covers for those outlets. And so it's things like that so that we can make good decisions going forward and safe decisions. As mentioned by both Judd and Todd, we had great attendance on the 28th with our open house. It's just so exciting to see the kids back into the building and not only visiting their teachers, but also visiting their classroom, and especially for the older kids, their locker. Where is it at? And there were kids that have spent hours before school even started decorating their locker. How just important that is to them. The process of open house in the last couple of years has become very streamlined, and we've improved in a lot of different areas. To give you just a couple of statistics. Open house of 2022 and 2023, $35,000 plus were actually collected for fees, whether it was for technology or for other things on that night, like in-person check or cash. 2023, 2024, only $23,000, so $10,000 or so less was collected that night. More people were confident with online, paying for some of their fees and things like that. This last year, this last couple of weeks ago, 2024, 2025 school year, $11,000 was brought in that evening. With Jesse's help and some other staff, we decided to set up a bank of a couple of computers to have there at school, right where the lines were, and if they wish to go online, they could do that, and we had people that could help them through that process. It's like, what does this screen look like? I might be kind of overwhelmed, but if I can ask somebody, hey, what's the next step? That was very successful. That night alone, or that day alone on the 28th, $5,000 was done just through RevTrack that day online. So looking at some of those statistics, certainly our families are getting more and more accustomed to being online, and we hope to, again, next year have more computers, but also have additional staff that can look over each person's shoulder just to kind of help them out if they get to a roadblock. Something I wish to do this year is create a McRae Leadership Advisory Team, and this would be a monthly collaboration, and people that I've invited include principals, directors, law enforcement, transportation, school nurse, and the idea behind it is each month to be able to give kind of a state of the district with these folks, and so there can be collaboration, there can be conversation back and forth, and that is something when we get closer to the first one, I would invite any of you if you wish to see what that looks like. You certainly could participate, not expected, but if that's something you would desire to see, we'd like to have you. Activities, they're in full swing. Already in that first week of school, you have students that are catching buses to go participate, across the whole southwestern part of the state, and then they're coming home with smiles on their face with different successes they've had, especially with so cross country is a sport in the fall that you have personal bests. And I think that's just great to see that you might not have come in first, you might not have come in second, but you improved 10 seconds on the last race you ran. I think those are just so, not that other activities aren't beneficial, but I think that is just so wonderful to see for our kids to have those personal bests. Back to school workshop. As Judd and Todd mentioned, we had Kevin Honeycutt who came to speak. Aaron Hess also came from IEA, which is the Institute for Environmental Assessment, and just shared some safety things, the bloodborne pathogens, just making sure we're up to code and getting good instruction with that. Sheriff Derek Olson, along with Rich and Stephanie, who are both Chippewa County Sheriff deputies, came to talk about school safety, and looking at the crisis that took place in Georgia, that last week. That certainly is a conversation that we have at McRae, whether it's myself and Jen, myself and Todd, and other staff, just always being on the lookout for how can we make this school and the kids safer. At the very bottom, I mentioned staff IDs. That's something that I'm encouraging staff to participate in this year, that is wearing a staff ID. Not only, for somebody that's walking through that may not know if that's a staff member or if it's somebody from the community, but also too for our kids. When they see somebody that's wearing a name badge, they trust, I could go to that person. I bet they could probably help me find, you fill in the blank. Whether it's something as simple as their locker or their classroom, but also, hey, I need to find the nearest bathroom now. And so that is something that we are doing this year. We also, Woodland Center came to talk about mental health, drug abuse, bullying, and also suicide prevention. All important things for our staff to have each and every fall as we go back to school. Quick update on PELSB. PELSB is the Professional Educator Licensing and Standards Boards. And within Minnesota education, within the tiered, or within the teachers' licenses, there's 4 different tiers. A student, or I should say a teacher that goes to a traditional 4-year school and does student teaching, when they leave their college or university, they're at a tier 3 is where they start at. Then after having 3 years of service in the state of Minnesota or being tenured in a district, then they can move to tier 4. So you might ask, why did you jump over tier 1 and tier 2? What are those? Tier 1 and tier 2 was introduced a handful of years ago to allow those that have a 4-year degree but don't have the traditional student teaching to be able to get into a public education, a public school, and teach. There are some parameters with that. There's only a certain amount of years you can be a tier 1 teacher before you actually have to go back to school to learn the student teaching and the pedagogy and things of that nature. Right now, and then tier 2, okay, would be those folks that have started a program, but they haven't finished it. A student teaching type of program. So across our district, we have 1 tier 1 teacher. We have 0 tier 2 teachers. We have 16 tier 3 teachers and 52 tier 4 teachers. The majority, if not all, no, it's not all. The majority of the 16 that are tier 3, after they renew their license this year, they will be tier 4. So they've already been tenured here at McRae. And if they were to go anywhere else, they would after 1 year of service. But that's just a little bit about what we currently have at McRae. We have 2 teachers that are out of field. And you can teach out of field up to 5 different times. During COVID, PELSB granted that year as a wash, so you didn't have to count that towards your 5. And I don't know the reason for it, but 2024-2025 school year also does not count towards their 5 total. And I talked already about the staff ID. Any questions you folks might have for me?
Just wondering with the last legislative session, if you've got a recap maybe at the next meeting about what the tree has been shaken to
Yeah.
fall down on school districts and whatnot.
Yeah,
and
certainly.
mandates and-
Yeah, I will certainly do that. Last year we had so much. This year was actually so comparative. There was less, and it's because we're going into a big election. Is that there weren't as many large events, but certainly I will.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
I'll
you.
share some things. Absolutely. Anything else?
Okay, all right, thank you, Josh. I believe we don't have any committee reports this week. Board discussion 6.3, anybody have anything they want to add?
I just want to say thank you after we expressed a concern last month about the weeds and stuff. It looks much better. There's still some along the building here, but it does look much better and really looks very attractive when you drive up to the facility. So thank you to the maintenance staff.
And I see we have a new concrete slab.
Yeah.
It looks really nice.
Yeah, we have a couple extra pieces of concrete. I don't have it in the board report, but we did replace the concrete at the entrance of the middle school, high school office. Also too, if you were to go to the back of the building, the north side of the building, there's some concrete that has been put in to the west of the ag and industrial arts area. There was some grass back in there, but there's also spouts that come off of the roof where water comes off, and so we put more concrete in there to get that water away from the roof.
Good.
Oh, and the outdoor classroom, it is happening. The sticks have been put up for it. One of the board members, Mr. John, did a great job with his crew to get that in short time. And, yeah, it'd be great to use.
So when is that projected to be ready?
I think do we, end of October?
It has to be done by December.
Oh, okay. This year.
Yeah. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
We gotta get everybody in to do their piece.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks.
Have there been any updates on like the walking path?
So that'll be part of the outdoor
Okay.
classroom piece,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
And that it's been mowed a handful of times. They have used it already. It's just not as leveled as it probably should be. But once we've been there, level it and put the crushed granite or the crushed concrete in, we'll make for a nice place for not only our kids to use during the day, but I think cross country will use it too for different activities.
Cool.
And other sports too.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, 7.0 business items. I need a motion to certify the 24 payable 25 levy for the Monaxon.
I'll make that motion.
Now, a second. I'll second that. Okay, and you said you did include that, or you didn't?
It's, levy certification website's not up yet for
Oh,
MDE.
okay,
They
okay.
got the levy out today or Friday, but they don't have that site up yet, so I just checked it at 5 to 6 and it still wasn't up.
Okay.
And it's not just us, I emailed a whole bunch of people and they're like, yep, I can't get it either,
Oh,
so.
okay.
But the first one doesn't matter as much, because we always do the maximum amount, so
Right.
that
Yeah, we always do that and then make it
yeah,
adjustment.
and then, we have to have the official one done.
Right. Okay, so we can go ahead and approve this.
Yeah.
Because we always do the maximum.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions about that? Okay, those in favor, say aye. Aye, those opposed, nay. Okay, 7.2, I need a motion to approve the resolution for the NFHS grant for the AEDs.
That makes my heart happy. Unintended, so I will make that motion.
Okay. Second,
I'll second that.
you said that, John, thank you. Okay, so that, I guess, is on the sheet here. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay.
Whereas the Minnesota State High School League Foundation was formed to provide support for Minnesota's high school youth to participate in athletics and find grants. Whereas the governing board of IDS 2180 McRae Schools recognizes the value of student participation in extracurricular activities. And whereas the MSHSL Foundation is offering grants and funding to assist schools to provide seminars, training, opportunities, or support for specific school functions for students, faculty members, officials, and others who are involved in athletic and fine arts programs. Therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of ISD 2180 McRae Schools supports the school's application to the Minnesota State High School League Foundation for NFHS AED Form B grant to provide the opportunity for school members to receive an AED through this grant process. The school will be credited with receiving a partial Form B grant.
Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, well, we have to do a roll call vote, so I will ask individually. Deb,
Yes.
John?
Yes.
You're already Mark. All right, Carvel.
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well, so that, we should pass.
So will this be located in the district, in the school here then, or out of the ball diamond? Or?
This one is for one of the teams. We have all the teams covered except their, I think cross country doesn't necessarily have one with them all the time.
Okay.
Or, yeah, or the football team for practices. I can't remember which it was. But otherwise, there's always one in the gyms for volleyball.
Yeah.
I think cross country has one with them, and then the football games always have the ambulances there and stuff. But for practices, I think we needed one more to get everybody covered.
Will you explain what an AED is? Automated external defibrillator. It is the machine that shocks the heart when somebody suffers a sudden cardiac arrest.
Thanks.
I would just offer that if any students would like to have the training, I'd be more than willing to certify them. I have 20 mannequins and the same amount of AED trainers, and would be willing to work with the students. I do that for several other districts, so.
So are the coaches trained in how to use this? Okay, so we passed and adopted that. I guess that's the last thing on our list. We do have, let's see, we got a board meeting October 4th. That's today. The next one is Tuesday.
No, this is September.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, October, I'm way ahead. Monday, October 14th, and then November 12th. And then the December 9th is a truth and taxation limits. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
So
All right, Carmel in a second. We'll go to you, Mark.
Yeah.
Right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right. Motion carries, we're adjourned at what, 6:34?